Hi, my name is Ray. I'm with Solucore, and today I'm talking about Copper Protect. It's a product by VDF Vertical. It's an elevator cab company in Ontario, and they are the authorized dealer of this product that they apply on surfaces, specifically in cabs. And what this product does is creates a layer of protection infused with copper, which kills bacteria on surfaces. So within 2 hours, they guarantee 99% of the bacteria would be killed, claim that's been registered with the EPA, and Aereus, who made them or manufactured the product, and the process is called CuVerro, stand by that claim, and it's been clinically proven that it does kill the bacteria. Now, how does this product work in elevators? You take an elevator product like a handrail, and you thermally layer the copper on top of this material, and then you sand it. And you go from a process that looks like this, essentially. And as you can see from this here, this is a very rough application of the copper on the stainless steel or any material you want, and then you end up with something that looks like this. Now, the advantage of having a product like this is that when you apply the material onto the surface, you're applying it once and that's the end of it. You don't have to reapply the product over and over again. You do not see the copper, so you're not going to get discoloration from the copper on the stainless steel. So whether you want to continue with the protection or you want to forget about the protection, it doesn't really matter. The product is applied and stays there. And it doesn't really get damaged or chip off very easily, as we've done a test. And this is a product that's been hammered, and you'll see the footage of the hammering. And as you can see, if you hammer on this, it does not take away the product, it doesn't chip it off. The way this thing chips off is on the edges, if there's a sharp edge, and the layering is, basically at the edge, you could potentially chip it if you don't do any rounding. But if you sand it and round it, it'll be very hard to chip it off. So it's a very durable product when you apply it. Now, they recommend that you apply this thing on handrails inside the elevator cab, and when you apply it on the handrail, which is the surface that people touch most of the time, you get the protection that they believe that you're looking for. Now, what are the disadvantages of applying this material on the handrail? Absolutely none. But if you think of elevators, and I always talk about elevators having a 15-second life, because every 15 seconds you potentially have people come in and out of the elevator. 2 hours to kill 99% of the bacteria is good, but you don't know what that translates to in 15 seconds. And they haven't done really studies to show us what happens after a minute, after 5 minutes, after 10 minutes, all the way up to 2 hours. So we know that in 2 hours you kill everything, or 99.9% of the bacteria, but we don't know what happens in the 5, 10, 20, 30 minutes of the bacteria laying on the surfaces. Now, with that said, you still need to clean your handrails. So using this material does not mean that you don't have to basically pay any attention to the cleaning, but it assists in the destruction of the bacteria cells in between the cleaning. So the advantage of this is that, if you clean the elevator handrail every couple of hours, you still have protection in the intermediate time between the cleaning, and you don't have to use harsh chemicals. I mean, you can easily use water and wipe the surfaces down. Why water, you ask? Well, water is just simply there to remove the bacteria or dirt or peanut butter or whatever you have on your hand that you're basically transposing onto the surfaces. So, you have oily hands, you have peanut butter, or any other material on your hand that you're basically displacing onto the handrail. When you touch the handrail and you let go, you're going to have that surface basically get impregnated with anything that you have on your hand. But by cleaning it with water, you're essentially going back to the clean surface, or back to the surface, so there's no layering of dirt on top of the surface. What are the disadvantages of having this material on? Like I said, absolutely nothing. I cannot think of anything that will actually impact you because you're not getting discoloration, you're not having any issues with the fact that you have protection on the handrail, and aesthetically, you're going back to the base. Now, if someone scratches it, you still get the protection. They've done some studies by the University of Waterloo to show that, you know, a 3 millimeter scratch does not impede the protection. Now, the problem with that study is that it's not been, you know, peer reviewed, and since this is an EPA registered product, they don't want to make a claim that they cannot stand 100% behind it. But essentially, the main thing for me was if someone scratches it, will you lose all protection? And the evidence is suggesting that you do not lose the protection. The protection still continues beyond that point. So what are the particulars of the length of the scarring or the cutting of the surface and the width and all that stuff? That's something that they would have to basically show us the study for. But essentially, your regular simple scratches or dentation or beating on the product will not damage this product and will not necessarily impede the effectiveness of the product, as you can see with this hammering. All it did is just push the product in, and it did not do anything else beyond that point. Now, as you also can see from this handrail, is that there is no stamping, which is unfortunate, because if you're going to spend money, and we're looking at around $250 a handrail. So if you have a 3-sided wall, you're looking at an investment of $750. Plus, I do recommend you do the band behind the handrail. So if you have the handrail sitting here, you have a band usually behind it. I do recommend you do the band as well. But the handrail itself is about $250 per side. And essentially, you have spent the money for it. Mind you, it's not a huge amount of money in elevator terminology, but if you spend the money, you may want some sort of a stamping to show that, hey, this product has bacterial protection. The other thing is, the viral implication. There's nothing with respect to the virus and, specifically corona. If you're looking about, will this thing protect against the flu or against the coronavirus? The answer is we don't know. There are studies to suggest that copper does damage the cell of a virus, but again, back to the fact that there's no study to specifically address whether this particular product would kill a virus. Because of that, there's been no claim to that effect. So essentially, if you're looking for, the flu or the pandemic or anything else, you're not going to get anything to say that this thing protects against it. But they do make claims against bacterial infections. So bacteria, yes. Virus, we don't know, as there's no publication to speak to that. So I've asked them about the effectiveness of the product over time, and 2 years, 3 years, what happens? And essentially, they try to apply between 50 and 100 micron of thickness on the surface. So when they apply the surface with this copper, they spray it on and they go between the 50 and 100 micron, and that's the range they're looking for. And then they sand it down. So as long as you got about 50 micron, you got plenty of protection, and there's no particular wear that you can actually do on this product that would actually impede the effectiveness of it. So once you apply it, if you have anywhere between 250, regardless of the thickness, regardless of the unevenness of the surface, you're really not going to lose any protection, and the protection goes on for apparently an infinite amount of time, because touching this product does not wear it off. So there's no concern of wear, there's no concern that this thing will wear off, and given that it's protected and it stays there forever, and given that there's no study to show that this thing over time could get eroded by the touch or by oxidization, I would say that they're claiming it should go on forever. So it's not like every 2 years you have to reapply it, or every 3 years you have to reapply it. Once you apply it once, it goes on indefinitely, or until they come up with something else to tell us otherwise. Let's talk about buttons. So VDF says that they could apply this thing on any surface. And they show us what a button would look like once you spray it, the product on. And as you can see from this here, I don't know if you can see it closer. So this button here has this material on it, and it doesn't look smooth at all. It looks like it's very rough. And actually, I do like the look of this. But my concern is that if you take somebody's button and you spray it with this material on it, what kind of warranty do you have now if this button starts sticking? Or what kind of protection do you get if this thing acts up? Well, we don't know, because when it goes from this to this, and as you can see, it becomes shiny and finished, and you can't even tell that there is copper on it. My concern is still that, you know, the manufacturer of the buttons could still come and say, look, you guys tampered with my buttons, and now I'm not going to warranty the buttons anymore. And if that happens, then you have a problem that's bigger than the copper protection. You know, this is what a copper button looks like from the elevator manufacturers. Like, you know, this one is a Dupar button. This one is a MAD button. So MAD DMG and Dupar Dewhurst are the two major manufacturers of buttons. And if you're looking for copper protection, that's what they give you. I have not been a big supporter of these buttons because I'm worried about discoloration. The patina would change the color and look of the button. So if you have an elevator with a bunch of these buttons and you look at them and you go, they look different. Yeah, over time they will look different. And as you can see from this button, we've had it for a while, and there is a bit of patina on it because, you know, like anything, copper does oxidize due to touching. And although I love patina, each button could look different, and from an aesthetic point of view, from a building point of view, you know, this thing looks nothing like this, which is essentially what these guys have done. So they've done a really better job on the finish, because now you can have a stainless steel button still look like a stainless steel button. But honestly, I think the concern that you're going to end up with is that if you modify the button and you put, you know, instead of this copper, you put this on it, although the button could theoretically be the same button, you know, the manufacturer will give you a hard time about it. And if they're going to do that, then you're going to end up with a product that will not be warranted and will be problematic. So in conclusion, I recommend that you install the handrail and the band in the cabs, and they'll protect you without having to worry about the warranty. That's about it. Thank you for listening. Have a great day. Bye.